Hi, I'm Dave Tree, owner of All the Cool Stuff, and I'm here today to talk to you about this. No, this. Rollout Roll Call. I mentioned on the Facebook page, the Transformers YouTube community, and it's a long title, that I'll be doing a short series of videos running up to Rollout Roll Call to help answer any questions that people may have. This is the first YouTube video I've ever done, so please apologise now in advance for any poor editing or stumbling or anything else. Rollout Roll Call, for those people that don't know, if I use that as a sort of starting point, is a show for Transformers, G.I. Joe and Masters of the Universe fans. This is the 5th show that we've done, so we've only been going since 2010, that's 5 years. But in that 5 years we've actually covered and made a lot of progress. We're now a 2-day event, which this year is held in Jury's Inn in Southampton, and we work quite closely with a lot of brands like Hasbro, Mattel, the Transformers Collectors Club and the G.I. Joe Collectors Club. One of the main questions that we get fielded towards us is, why Southampton? Well, the show's got to be held somewhere, and doesn't matter where you hold it, it's then at the detriment to everywhere else in the country. So irrespective, there's going to be some travel needed in some form or another. As I mentioned, this is the 5th show. We're still a very young show, and it's actually a very small team of volunteers and helpers that put the show together, most of whom are in and around the Southampton area. So that's why we currently hold the show there. However, the reasons that we chose Southampton as opposed to, say, like Bournemouth or Portsmouth or anywhere else is Southampton is ridiculously networked for travel. For those that don't know, Southampton is one of the main terminals for cruise ships into the UK. It's also one of the main freight ports in the UK. So all the toys that you get at Toys R Us, most of those come all through Southampton on container ships. As a result, the travel and road network all around Southampton is very, very straightforward and very, very well connected. If you're coming by car, it is intersecting the M27, which goes along the coast, and the M3, which is to London. It's an hour from Heathrow in London. You also have the train terminal. You also have the National Express terminal. You know, think about it. All those people that come off the cruise ships, they all then just go off everywhere, all throughout the UK. A lot of routes from the National Express all go to Southampton for that reason alone. So there's a lot of travel routes that you can take by coach. There's also an airport, and there's also the various ferry terminals. So if you're along the coast, you might actually be able to get a ferry directly to Southampton. So although it is on the south coast, like I said, it's got to be held somewhere, but it's actually a lot easier to get to than most people actually realise, and is ridiculously well networked as well. If I had my way, if any of you out there came to the first 2 Rollout Roll Calls, I would have it in Fordingbridge, and then you'd have genuinely a reason and cause for concern to complain about how to get there and things like that. Ask any of the guys who come to the Farthest From shows. Second question is, you know, where can we stay? Now, we have set up with the Jury's Inn a discount rate for attendees over the weekend. For using the code TOYS, T-O-Y-S, you can get a single room with bed and breakfast per night for £59, or a double or twin room for £69 per night, including bed and breakfast. Now that is really, really quite cheap. But if you're looking for other alternatives, as I mentioned before, Southampton is one of the main cruise depots for like entry into the UK, so there's a lot of hotels around. Within walking distance of the Jury's Inn Hotel, you have the ETAP Hotel, you have a Travel Lodge, you have the Premier Inn, you have a Novotel, you have an Ibis, and you also have, a little bit further, depending on how far you want to walk, but probably better for a taxi ride, you have the Holiday Inn, and you have the Grand Harbour de Vere. So there's a lot of choice for accommodation in and around Southampton for the show. So if you genuinely have any problems and you don't know where to go, or if you're on a budget, please let us know. We'll do our best to help you out and point you in the right direction. You know, there's accommodation to suit every bill, but for the best fun to be had, it's at the hotel. Rollout Roll Call itself is made up of effectively 4 different elements. If I go through each of those, number 1, the guests that we got this year, we got great lineup of guests that we've already announced, and we've got many more that we haven't announced. Because I'm doing this primarily for the Transformers YouTube community page, this is going to have more of a Transformer bias to it in terms of we're talking about the guests. But first and foremost, Nick Roche is coming to the show for the first time ever. Now this is great. Anybody who goes to any other shows that Nick attends, he's always up to capacity in terms of getting sketches done. So this is a great opportunity for you to actually meet Nick and hopefully get a sketch done. We've also got John Paul Bove coming, who is always a regular and very close to my heart. Colorist for IDW Regeneration 1 series. We've also got Larry Hammer. Now, whilst he's known as connected with G.I. Joe, from the Transformers side of things, he did write 2 lots of Transformers versus G.I. Joe. So he did the original Marvel run, and then later he did the Generation 2 era stuff. But Larry also is the creator of Bucky O'Hare. So if there's any fans out there of like the Bucky O'Hare comic series or the cartoon or the toys, you might not actually realise it, but Larry, although he's known for G.I. Joe, he's the creator of Bucky O'Hare, so that's like pretty cool. We've also got Phosphite Studios and Emiliano Santalucia coming. Now, effectively, the beautiful, wonderful Phosphite Studios, if you've bought an action figure from Hasbro in the last for a few years, chances are it's had part of its creation thanks to those guys. They are action figure sculptors and designers who've extensively worked on the Star Wars, Marvel and G.I. Joe brands, but they've also worked quite a lot within Transformers as well. They are fantastic guys and so cool, and they were like the surprise hit of last year's Rollout Roll Call. They were doing live sculpting demonstrations, and they also did an amazing panel that gave you a very, very interesting insight into the toy industry and why certain reasons and decisions are made in terms of the creation of toys. Emiliano Santalucia, again, if you're a Transformers fan, although he's mostly connected to the Masters of the Universe, you've got a lot to be thankful for this guy. If you bought Metroplex or any of the recent Generations figures, Emiliano's had a hand in there. Like Rat Trap, for example. He did a lot of the Transformer Prime stuff, but he's also worked as a comic book artist for IDW, and I know off the top of my head he did IDW's Spotlight Blaster. So Emiliano is a fantastic guy, very, very insightful again, a wonderful artist, and you get a chance to like talk to him freely as well. You've also got James Eatock, who is best known as being the editor of the Serial Geek magazine, which if you've never picked up, shame on you, because it is an amazing publication full of all insight into the animation and cartoons of the 1980s. Within that, of course, a lot of Transformers. So he has an amazing amount of knowledge about like the Sunbow animation that came for Transformers and G.I. Joe. But he, again, is a huge Masters of the Universe fan. So if you like any of those cartoons from the 80s, he's your man to talk to. We've also got Eamon O'Donoghue, who is an artist and illustrator. Again, if you're a Masters of the Universe fan, he was one of the regulars on the Roast Google Dinner podcast, and is quite linked in with Masters of the Universe, doing a lot of work on the Mattel He-Man franchise and that. The second thing that I think makes Rollout Roll Call are the panels and presentations. I mentioned just now in the guests that we have a whole series of presentations that go on throughout the weekend. These are actually phenomenal, and they will give you a huge amount of knowledge and insight into various different parts of like the things that you love most, either be it the toys, the cartoons, the comics, or just the brand as a whole. It's brilliant. I don't have a list of those available at the moment, but in a future video we'll cover what some of those presentations are most likely to be. The third thing that makes up the show are the toys. We have a network of dealers that attend the show that will be offering all the latest wares, plus also all the vintage favourites, and also outside and beyond. Remember, it's not just like Transformers, G.I. Joe, Action Force and Masters of the Universe, but people quite often bring Thundercats, Turtles and otherwise, you know, all at the show as well, so that's quite cool. We also have, working with the Transformers Collectors Club, the G.I. Joe Collectors Club and Mattel, exclusives for the show. For the Transformers side of things, we've got Depth Charge, Slipstream, Transmutate and Circuit. For G.I. Joe we got Big Bear, Bombardier, Keelhaul, Cesspool, which is so cool, and done by Phosphite Studios as well, and Nightfall's Falcon, and from Mattel we got Goatman. Now, again, a lot of people say these aren't exactly new exclusives. No, they're not, but they are the first time that they've been officially sold in the UK. The Transformers Collectors Club and the G.I. Joe Collectors Club only sell products through their own networks. This is the first time that they've ever done it, and it's actually because it's to give international fans a chance to get some of these goods through not being at one of their, you know, if you're not able to make one of their shows over in the States. So this is a big, big thing and a huge step. People who ask for their own exclusive, you know, a UK exclusive Transformer or a UK exclusive toy, that's never going to happen. You've got to start somewhere to make it happen, and this is the first steps. It is taken note of, yeah, and it will be fed back, and then hopefully down the line, you know, this increases the chance of letting something like that happen. First of all, are you a member of the Transformer Collectors Club or the G.I. Joe Collectors Club? Because if you're not, they don't know that you exist. You've actually got to, you know, almost prove yourselves, and this is a good starting point. So I'm very grateful for both Fun Publications and Mattel for firstly allowing exclusive product to be sold, but really, if you guys want to see exclusives down the line, it's really down to yourselves to actually support, you know, this gesture of goodwill and come to the show, buy them, or otherwise, you know, feedback, because, you know, you have this opportunity now. Don't waste it. The fourth element of the show is really quite simple. It's you guys. I do a lot of shows. I attend shows as all the cool stuff up and down the country, and I organise a few shows as well. I do like a Star Wars one, for example. The number one thing that always comes out from folk is that what makes a great show are the other attendees. You know, it's the social element, and really that's all down to yourselves. You know, we all are in contact with one another on a regular basis, but we don't actually really get much of an opportunity to physically interact with one another. Now, why not actually take up any excuse or opportunity to do that? You know, it is always the best part of the show, so here's another opportunity for you guys to do that. Come down to the show, catch up with all your friends, and, you know, we've got quite a few things planned, you know, in terms of like entertainments and things like that, which we'll go through nearer down the line. But this is the perfect opportunity for you guys to like catch up and do it. So I'll keep it there. That's probably me waffling along enough. But if you have any questions, please field them to me. I don't know if you put it on the Facebook page for Rollout Roll Call, or even on the YouTube channel here. Either way, get in touch, engage with us. We will answer any questions, and I'll try and do other videos, and I hope this hasn't been too painful for you. But otherwise, please have a look and come to Rollout Roll Call in October. Southampton, jury's in, 11th and 12th of October. Blah, 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 blah.